I'm Jordan Fields. I'm reading Dickens at Pickwick Papers, chapter 29, in which the sexton gets kidnapped. At last the game reached to a most exciting pitch. The organ played quicker and quicker, and the goblins leaped faster and faster, coiling themselves up, rolling head over heels upon the ground, and bounding over tombstones like footballs. The sexton's brain whirled round, and his legs reeled beneath him, as the spirits flew before his eyes, when the goblin king laid his hand upon his collar and sank with him through the earth. When Gabriel Grubb had had time to fetch his breath, he found himself in what appeared to be a large cavern, surrounded on all sides by crowds of goblins. In the center of the room was stationed his friend of the churchyard, and close behind him stood Gabriel Grubb himself, without power of emotion. "Cold tonight," said the king of goblins. "Very cold. A glass of something warm here." At this command, half a dozen officious goblins, with a perpetual smile upon their face, hastily disappeared and presently returned with a goblet of liquid fire, which they presented to the king. "Ah!" cried the goblin, whose cheeks and throat were transparent as he tossed down the flame. "This warms one. Bring a bumper of the same for Mr. Grubb." It was in vain for the unfortunate sexton to protest. One of the goblins held him while another poured the blazing liquid down his throat. The whole assembly screeched with laughter as he coughed and choked. After swallowing the burning draught, "And now," said the king, "and now show the man of misery and gloom a few of the pictures from our own great storehouse." As the goblin said this, a thick cloud which obscured the remoter end of the cavern rolled gradually away and disclosed a small and scantily furnished but neat and clean apartment. A crowd of little children were gathered round a bright fire, clinging to their mother's gown. The mother occasionally rose and drew aside the window curtain, as if to look for some expected object. A frugal meal was ready, spread upon the table, and an elbow chair was placed near the fire. A knock was heard at the door. The mother opened it, and the children crowded round her, and clapped their hands of joy as their father entered. He was wet and weary, and shook his head and shook the snow from his garments. Then, as he sat down to his meal before the fire, the children inclined about his knee, and the mother sat by his side, and all seemed happiness and comfort. But a change came upon the view almost imperceptibly. The scene was altered to a small bedroom where the fairest and youngest child lay dying. The roses had fled from his cheek and the light from his eye, and even as the sexton looked upon him with an interest he had never felt or known before, he died. His young brothers and sisters crowded around his little bed and seized his tiny hand, but they shrank back from its touch and looked with awe on its infant face, for calm and tranquil it was. They saw he was dead, and they knew he was an angel looking down upon him from heaven.